Second live stream since I officially got COVID. Um, Finally back at the store. We did a Friday review about how I wasn't at the store, and now I'm here. Just had a whole full day at the shop. A pretty busy Sunday, thank God. A lot of browsers, as Sundays have had, but generally a good turnout. A bunch of customers who just happen to be in the area, people who come by and visit when they're around and then buy a bunch of books. So we had that. That was wonderful. And yeah, all in all, a pretty good Sunday. A few people who missed out this week, who would have come Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, came because I have been closed. But I imagine most of those people, most of my Wednesday regulars or whatever, I'll be seeing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when new books are out. Very interested in talking about all the San Diego Comic-Con announcements. Anyone who joins us live right now can throw out questions or things that they're curious about. I've heard about very little. But first, let's look at all the books. We usually do this on Wednesday. We look at all the new books. But I didn't get time to, so let's do that first. We've got Absolute Power Origins, a new version of Amanda Waller's history. We've got a new book from Distillery and Mike Henderson, Lee Grubret, The Big Burn, Lee Ridge on colors and co-writing, I believe. The first Western Berserk, Keanu Reeves and Jason Aaron, Face Full of Bullets. Two great new horror lines, Epitaphs from the Abyss, a new part of the new EC line at Oni, and Hello Darkness. Look at the names on this. Two great horror. Joe, if you're watching this, you can wait in. These are going to have some really nice special editions, but you could also get the issues and let me know. Nemesis, the new Nemesis miniseries that will follow up the Big Hunt. Big Hunt, I think it was called. Prequel, The Nice House by the Sea. Same team that did Nice House by the Lake. NYX. Kelly, Jackson Kelly, and Jackson Lindsay, they have the same first name. New York City Team Book, The Younger Mutants Take Over New York. Rebirthday, Ali Kudluzan, self-published book. I read through this. It's really an interesting meditation on life. Spawn Kills Every Spawn, a silly little Spawn violent book. The new Ninja Turtles. New Ninja Turtles have many covers, and we have cute little pins of Raphael's red bandana to go with it. Wolverine 88 reprint. This is a facsimile reprint of the first time Deadpool and Wolverine fought in Wolverine. People put things back. Second issue of the new Zatanna by Mariko Tamaki and Javier Rodriguez. Second issue of Resident Evil Book of Life. Second issue of Hate Revisited, Peter Bag's return to his story. Second issue of Task Force 7 from Absolute Power. Strange Academy Blood Hunt 3. The final issue of the Nexus run. The fourth issue of Batman Dark Age. The final issue of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And more ongoing series. All stuff that came out Wednesday. All stuff I was too sick to show off then. And I'm showing it off now. A couple of books also came out that I haven't shown off yet, so let's go look at those, and then we will talk about San Diego Comic-Con. Anyone who has anything they want to talk about from San Diego, please throw it out there now. We got Tumbly. This is another self-published book. Really fun, psychedelic, trippy, silly book. We've got new Asterix collection. The 7th, I think. The 11th, look at that. So these are in the 30s of the Asterix books. The new Friday, third and final volume of that. And I think that's all I've got left. There were more. But people bought them today. There's also people by my window who are checking out that I'm here. I hate that. We have hours posted. I don't mind if I'm here at like 9:30 and people see me in and they're all like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Because that's crazy. It's very late. But you're outside eating ice cream 20 minutes after I closed, 15 minutes after I closed, just because there's a person in here. You know, store's closed, but then they gotta do things. They got to close up. So anyway, we're gonna hide out back here. What do I think about Molecule Man? Is in San Diego Comic? I didn't know. Again, let me go through the San Diego Comic Con announcements that I heard. Oh my God! Look at that. Book attacked us. Book's flap just pushed out and knocked the thing down. I have opinions about Molecule Man, but I didn't know if there's anything else. I heard the Robert Downey Jr. news. I heard DC's rebranding. I heard there's a Star Trek Lower Decks ongoing series Ryan North is going to be writing. And that's about it. A whole bunch of comic creators shared stuff, but I don't know. I don't remember what I saw and what was San Diego, what was the week building up to San Diego and things like that. Was there a Molecule Man announcement? Did they announce something about who's playing him or no? Molecule Man as a comic book character, I think, is very interesting because it really was used to explore the concept, which, again, Watchmen did very, very well, and many writers have explored since. Having molecular, atomic structure powers doesn't mean much if you don't actually know how these things work. Owen, at least as he was written in the 70s and 80s, not his first appearance and not how they made him later, kind of's got this aw shucks everyman kind of thing where he's figuring out and he's trying to work these powers, but they're very, very complicated. And I like that idea that getting powers, getting an ability doesn't necessarily mean you've mastered that ability. And especially molecular science and that kind of stuff can get really complicated. It's really great when it's in the hands of writers like Jonathan Hickman, Ryan North, people who can really do the science. Less fun when it's just, anybody. Hope that answered the question. But like I said, if there was a Molecule Man announcement, if some other MCU alum is coming back to play him for Secret Wars, he is a very important part of the Secret Wars, Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars run. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I didn't hear anything about it. The Robert Downey Jr. news is, I've got to say, one of the weirder things that Marvel's announced in a very long time. I'm still unsure if is she showing up in Fantastic Four? Is that coming out next summer? Fantastic Four, and then all the stuff is after it? Because that's disappointing because my real hope for the Fantastic Four movie was that it was going to take place in 1961. I really wanted the Fantastic Four movie, as much as I want any of these things, to be grounded in the time when it originally happened. I think that really speaks to a lot of the issues with the Fantastic Four. A lot of the stuff that has had to be rejiggered and reconfigured and changed makes a lot more sense in 1961. So again, I really not. I was sick. I was literally in bed with COVID for days. I don't follow any big news source of comic news that actually filters this information well. I just see it all over the place. But my understanding is Fantastic Four is happening next summer, and then these two new Doom movies are after that. So if that's the case, you either have Fantastic Four without Doctor Doom, which I'm fine with, totally fine with that, or Fantastic Four has to happen now so that we can introduce Doom and then he shows up in these other movies. Again, Fantastic Four taking place now, they'll make the movie. I'll see it. I'll see what I think, but I think it could be really strong if it takes place in 1961. What other announcements? The DC rebranding, both using the old Star Bullet logo for DC Studios, as well as Absolute DC being a whole new multiverse. Same old, same old. DC rebranding their logos is nothing new. They do it every few years. It's oh, excellent. Did they officially say Wizard? Did they officially say it's the 60s? Because I like that. I remember Shalabah is going to be Silver Surfer, so that makes sense. Like I said, it's perfectly fine with me if the Fantastic Four movie ends with them going in the negative zone and the post-credit scene is them coming out of the negative zone nowadays. But I really think that they work in the 60s more easily than they work nowadays. DC rebranding, I talk about this all the time. The biggest issue with single issue comic books right now, the biggest issue with these floppy things is not that people don't like them. It's not that they're hard to get into. This Doctor Doom comic, okay? This Doctor Doom comic that Jonathan Hickman and Sanford Green did is wonderful. It's fantastic, and you don't have to know anything about superheroes to read it. It's got giant splash pages with tons of superheroes, but you don't have to know anything about them. All you have to know is Galactus is getting taken down by Doom after all the heroes tried. That's how it starts, and you get Doom doing all sorts of funky stuff. It's a great book. The issue is that this great book costs $7. This is $7. For $7, you can get, well, not one, but for buy two, get one free, 3 manga at that price. Less if they're $10 manga. It's too much money for too small a thing. Some comics, I believe, are 100% worth it. Really great stories that really work. But for the most part, going and physically showing up at a store, or even getting physically in the mail, weekly or monthly comics financially doesn't make sense. So, what can be done? Zillions of things. The new compact DC things could be a way out. The digital market could be a way out. There's a lot of stuff, and no one's really doing that. What they are doing is things like Absolute DC. They are going, okay, we have people coming in. We have people buying stuff. We have a whole subset of people who are coming in when there's something new, when there's something funky, when there's a creator they like. So as long as we put out new funky stuff with big creators, we can keep that secondary little audience that snatches things here or there going. But that secondary little audience and the people who regularly come into the shop every week are not buying enough. We've discussed this. I have a whole video, Wither the Single Issue. It's my first big YouTube video that I did 5 months ago, where the fact is it's the variant covers. It's the collectors who get all the covers, or a certain artist's covers, or all themed covers that keeps these books being financially viable. The great Brian Hibbs, comic retailer owner, wrote a new Tilting at Windmills all about the absolute precipice we are for shops, how so many shops are closing and so many shops are having trouble, just as ours are, keeping ahead of this stuff. And the single issues are to blame, blah, blah. He has a whole, I didn't read all the way through. I started it and then the shop got busy. But here's the thing. It's too late for that discussion. The single issue market has already given itself over to the collector market. The Peach Momoko collector, the disco, they're doing a whole disco line at Marvel for August. The disco covers, all these things. They're doing action figure, superpower action figure covers. They're doing DC style guide covers. These are, and I love them. I think some of these covers are amazing, but that's who the market for single issues are. That's who's paying the bills at Marvel and DC, collectors who collect that stuff. If you go and check, Marvel and DC started this with some foil covers. Boom has gone into it hardcore with special editions. Image has started to do it. Vault does it. Double the price comics that are some sort of special cover with a limited run. Again, just to keep those collectors coming in and getting these rare special comics. That's not the way. But as someone who's been in comic retail for about 12 years now, that is where we landed. When I came in, there were still a whole bunch of those guys who resentfully bought these comics. They like them, but they don't like the current run, or they don't like the direction it's taking. They don't like how the New 52 was constantly shifting, whatever it was, looking for excuses to leave. 5 years into my being open, 6 years ago, it became very clear that those people had mostly left. They would come into the store, they would complain about things, they would get the books that they're still collecting. Oh, well, I always get Amazing Spider-Man, so I'm still getting it. They would get the stuff, but they weren't involved, they weren't invested, they didn't care. There was a spinoff, there was an event, they're like, oh, I don't want this. And that created a pale over all of that, over all the events, over all the things that were supposed to be exciting and special. And every once in a while, you'd have something like Secret Wars, or Dark Knight 3 that boosted a lot of sales. But at the end, if you looked at it, it was a lot of variant covers. There's a lot of variant covers. If you go, the biggest offender in this is a company called Dynamite. I don't know how inside comics you are, but Dynamite has a lot of great licenses. They've recently gotten the Disney license. They did a Hercules comic, did a Maleficent comic, they did a Lilo and Stitch comic, they have a Gargoyles comic. Wait, Gargoyles might be Boom. Disney's all over the place. Disney's at multiple companies. But Dynamite is famed, is well known for its multiple covers, for its collector's covers. It has the cover A, cover B, cover C, D, E, all the way through F. Then it has black and white, no logo, foil, this special cover that you have to order 100 to get with by this amazing artist. And they've been doing that forever. So why did Disney go with them? Disney owns Marvel. I've discussed this on the live stream for years. Disney is always looking for the partner who's going to make them the most market share. They don't just care about the money, because you pay for the license, you pay for the license. It's the market share. It's how much of an impact this is going to have. How much is going to... Dynamite is a collector's comic book company. Dynamite makes special covers on every single... Lilo and Stitch number 4 had 20 covers. Lilo and Stitch number 1 had like 50 covers. IDW won in 2018 or 2017 the Buena Vista Licensing Award because its Marvel Action line and its Star Wars line were selling so... Marvel was making Star Wars comics at the time. Marvel didn't win it. IDW did. Because IDW gave Disney what Disney wants, which is stuff for the Disney collectors. Stuff that people who seek out the rare and special of a Disney thing spent the money, put the effort in, try to do it. And that is what every company is chasing right now. They are chasing getting people. So the fact that DC rebranded doesn't matter. But the fact that DC has created a whole new reality in the Absolute line with 5 different books, they might be well written, they might be well drawn. I don't know. I'll check them out when I get previews of them. But they exist because this issue number 1 is now the first appearance ever of Absolute Batman. And if you have the 1 in 1,000 of that, that's a high collectible item. Especially if they go and make an Absolute Batman movie. And that's the game they're playing. Marvel is not playing that game only because they don't care to rebrand. Marvel gave up on rebranding about 3 years ago. They were going to have a whole new What If line. They announced this Ultimate line, which is currently coming out. And then they just sort of got rid of these things. Ultimate line is still coming out. It's still branded with the nice little white border of the Ultimate, but they don't have like a whole special Ultimate section. They don't, because they're not reprinting all the old Ultimate books to get you, which is what you usually do when you rebrand. Because they realize that as long as Ultimate, every issue of Ultimate has 5 covers, one of which is a spoiler special cover, and one of which is a 21 and 25 cover, they'll keep those numbers up. As long as every other issue of Amazing Spider-Man has a Mickey Mouse cover, they'll keep those Amazing Spider-Man issues up, even if people don't like the current run of Amazing Spider-Man. They've proven that through 3 very unpopular runs of Amazing Spider-Man. As long as 3 guys at the Megastore want that 1 in 100 black and white cover, the Megastore is ordering 300 copies of Amazing Spider-Man. It doesn't matter if only 100 people are subscribed to the book. It doesn't matter if they're literally taking 100 of those 200 of those 300 copies and giving them away because they're selling the 1 in 100 for enough money. They're still ordering 300 copies. Marvel's still getting whatever money they get. And that's where it lies. Again, you can see a lot more about this in my video, Wither the Single Issue. Anyone else have anything that they heard at San Diego that they want to bring up? Anyone? All right, well, you can put it in the comments here if you're watching this later, and I will get to it tomorrow, I guess. That's a good one for tomorrow because I'll just be unpacking boxes anyway. So yeah, Joe, anyone watching later, anything you saw at San Diego that looked interesting, please let me know. We can talk about it. Until tomorrow, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind.